Daniel just said it would be huge. Oh! Down goes Marvin Muscan. The St. Louis winner from a week ago hits the deck hard.
Hello, Albert here, another episode of Moto Academy. This is me reacting to crashes from Atlanta Supercross this weekend. I had a blast in the 125, but this track was not easy. We got a ton of rain the night before and the morning of, and they had the tarps on top. So what happened is all of the top layer was really hard packed, and then down in the pockets and the transitions, it was super rutted. So you're riding on two completely different types of surfaces. I'm gonna react to all of these crashes. Maybe I've seen some floating around online, but I've tried not to watch any of these yet. And I'll give my raw reaction to these, but also try to be analytical, break them down, and explain to you guys maybe why the crash happened and how they could have avoided it. You guys can train with me now online inside of the Moto Academy app. All you have to do is go to themotoacademy.com, subscribe to the club. Also, I am picking a winner to win this gear that I wore, if I can get this right, wore this against Stank Dog in the 125s this weekend. We got the jersey and pants. Wore it just one time. Got it covered in some nice Georgia red clay. If you want to win this gear, subscribe to the Moto Academy Club and send me your favorite two-stroke riding clip of you riding a two-stroke. I'm going to pick a winner live inside of the app tomorrow night, Wednesday, April 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So you guys are watching this on Tuesday. Send those clips in before tomorrow for your chance to win this gear. And if you don't win, you can still train with me online, send in your riding footage to be analyzed, and check out the tour page as well, tour.themotoacademy.com, if you want to train with me in person. I'm traveling the entire world, so hopefully there's a location near you. All right, this is Hunter's press day crash. So in my opinion, it is always better to case a jump front tire first, even if your front tire is, or sorry, with the bike level, even if your front tire is going to be almost clearing the jump. Hunter chose to loft the front end high, and what that did is it so aggressively threw him almost into an endo that it ripped the bars out of his hands. This has happened to me before. I now choose to case absolutely everything completely level, or even sometimes front tire first, and what that'll do is that will bounce your bike level. Even in this situation with him landing where he did. Now, it's pretty much he landed in the worst possible spot, but I am still very confident that that could have been saved. Just totally glad that he's okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, so this is Voland. Oh. This is the problem, right? So he was afraid to skim the whoops. It would be easier to actually skim the whoops because they were dry on top. He got in the pocket of the first one, was sliding, and then when his bike got to the top, it actually hooked up and it ripped right out from underneath him. That gear was really cool, by the way. I feel bad for Max because I beat him this last weekend and the weekend before. So he missed the main event and then he missed the night show this last weekend. Yeah, this is, I haven't seen this yet either. I did see Jet in the first corner as I rode by. He kind of just ran out of space. So this was the first heat. The track was perfectly prepped, but even watch after Jet crashes how much Hampshire is fishtailing. There was no traction at all. Jet should have been a little more patient probably going into the first turn there. Got a little too overexcited. All right, so this is Nicoletti's crash. He ended up breaking his wrist or his arm. The pocket of that triple out was, and this is partially due to the track being tarped, it had the wet transition and then it was dry up top, and what that ended up doing is it formed a knuckle, actually very similar to the Roxon crash at Anaheim when he really messed up his wrist. It was the same thing with that. They had that track tarped and it creates big kickers on the jump. So Phil right here just had no choice but to try to jump off, but that was kind of worst case scenario. The last couple whoops there were muddy all the way across. Gets his weight too far back and then it throws his weight to the front and then he's washing the front end out. Actually very similar to Jet's crash in the same exact section. Once he dropped the inside elbow and got his head inside of the bike, right here, there was not much saving that given the track conditions. If he had better traction, yeah, maybe that could have been saved. Okay, I have no idea what this is. Whoa. Yeah, holy cow. Those whoops were just hard as a rock on top, not very forgiving. He had good body position, for the most part, wow. And the reason pros are able to get away with swaps that are that big is because they keep their hips unlocked. And what that does is allows the lower body to work without really affecting his head that much. That was a great save. A lot of riders would have tensed up in that situation, probably ended up on the ground. Yeah, Hampshire just kind of worried about what's going on behind him. The entry to this turn was so ridiculously slippery. You could see him drifting. He was already drifting right here as he's looking back. And then just Hampshire, like I always say, he's got to get those darn elbows up because it's so easy for his head to fall inside of that bike. Here's Jet missing whoops, nothing new there. That wasn't really the issue though, because he dropped it in the perfect spot. It was just, I had to talk with him on the podium after this. He gets excited and he gets his head too far forward on these first laps. If he had just remained a little bit more neutral, a little bit more upright, that probably would not have happened. If you watch Hunter's body position, he was a little bit more relaxed going into that turn, kind of took his time a little bit. Jet was just like wanting to go. Another great save here. I mean, Tomac is just strong. The reason this happened, very similar to Musquin's crash, is the corner, the way it flowed, if you try to carry speed around it, you would always end up on that embankment on the far corner. And it wasn't a berm. What it was just a wall. So if you hit that embankment the wrong way, it was just basically like exploding yourself off a wall. Tomac just doing the tear-off pull right after. Honestly, that tear-off pull is probably just a reset. Same thing here. I mean, that was the exact same situation as Tomac, but Musquin was a little bit higher up on the embankment and probably also gave up on it a little bit quicker because there were so many bikes around him. He probably just, yeah, it just kicked him further. There wasn't really, getting kicked like that, honestly, he got out of that pretty good. He didn't dab his knee too hard or leg too hard, so he got out of that okay. Just the gloves falling off. Sexton just pushing the front, dropping the inside elbow a little bit. Again, the entry to these corners were so slippery, and what you have to do to avoid that is just stay upright a little longer. He was trying to make his transition to the sitting position, maybe getting the head forward right there at like the 30% mark in the turn. And of course you do kind of have to do that to be a top guy because they're trying to go so fast. But what you really should do is stay in position, and not transfer at all until you get to that leader mark, which is about 50% in the corner, just to ensure that you have proper traction going into the corner. Barsha doing a great job here. Again, hips unlocked, so the bike is dancing, and watch how, for the most part, how still his head stays through all of that mess. And he keeps his head forward. A ton of strength involved there, a lot of confidence just to keep the head forward while things are going that wrong. Super impressive. And he pretty much almost tried to keep his feet. He was like trying to adjust his feet to get them back to the pegs, kind of trying to hit the rear brake all at the same time. There's so much that goes on in a situation like that to save it. Oh, here's the crash of the day, my first burnout ever, and slid out. So Stank Dog was shifting up to 5th gear. I didn't know that you're supposed to shift up during burnouts. So all it did is it made my bike rev so high that it just immediately spun me out. Didn't feel like holding my bike up, just dropped it to the ground. So there you have it. Atlanta Supercross crashes, little breakdown. I know these videos fly by quickly and I'm rattling off info really quick for you guys, but what you realize is a lot of these crashes are just beginner mistakes in a sense. Like these guys, although they're riding very advanced tracks, a lot of the mistakes are mistakes that you guys would experience at an amateur and a novice or beginner level as well. So hopefully something that you can learn. All right guys, subscribe to the Moto Academy if you want to win that gear before tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's April 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern. To win this gear, pretty cool. A lot of good memories in this stuff. I'll sign it with the date and everything so that you guys can remember what this gear is from. But yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is a brand new channel that we're really working hard on. Shout out to Jack, my editor, that's been putting these videos together. And we're gonna keep them rolling, so subscribe so that YouTube can share these videos as much as humanly possible. And we'll see you next time. Toodaloo.